Two women are seriously injured after being beaten with a bat by a man who robbed them on the street early this morning in Chicago's Bucktown neighborhood. Both women were struck in the head with the bat. The suspect remains on the loose. Good evening, everybody. I'm Cheryl Burton.
I'm Alan Kraszewski in for Ron tonight. Now, one of these victims is a graduate student at UIC, studying here from Ireland. This attack happened about 3:30 this morning in the 1800 block of North Damon. This is on the city's northwest side. ABC 7's Teresa Gutierrez joining us now with more. Teresa.
Well, Bucktown is a community that has gone through a great deal of gentrification over the last 15 years. Residents in the area say they are comfortable walking any time of the day or night and usually feel very safe. Many cannot believe that two young women were attacked and robbed early this morning. Chicago police say the two women were walking to one of their homes in the 1800 block of North Damon around 3:30 this morning when the attacks happened.
It's a really wonderful area. It's kind of hard to imagine, but it's Chicago. And
investigators say the attacker hit both women in the head with a baseball bat before taking their purses. One victim, a 24-year-old woman, was able to give police a vague description of the man. Police and fire department personnel went to her home this afternoon to remove her dog from the house. The victim's uncle took the dog and did not want to talk to us on camera, but said she was in the hospital with her family at her side.
That troubles me because my daughter and her husband and obviously their new baby live here, and they often actually take late night walks because the baby doesn't sleep much. So I think we really need to do something about that.
The second victim is a 23-year-old graduate student at the University of Illinois at Chicago from Ireland who lives in the 600 block of South Halstead. A UIC spokesperson says the young woman's home institution is a university in Dublin and that UIC is in communication with the school regarding the attack.
That's really scary because, like I said, I live right here and I was coming home, I would say, right around that time. It could have happened to me or my roommate or anybody. But yeah, that's really shocking that would happen in this neighborhood.
Well, both victims remain hospitalized at this hour. One is in critical condition and the other is serious but stable. Police have no one in custody. It is an ongoing investigation for the Area 5 detectives, and they are looking at surveillance cameras in the area, hoping that it may lead them to an arrest.
All right, Teresa.
Two people are charged tonight in the brutal attack with a baseball bat on two women last week in Chicago's Bucktown neighborhood, and one of those women tonight remains in critical condition. Good evening, everyone. Police say that they tracked down the suspects after the suspect used cell phones and credit cards taken during that attack.
ABC 7's Teresa Gutierrez is live at Area 5 Police Headquarters, where police have just provided more details of their investigation. Teresa?
Well, in Chicago, police have confirmed that recent activity on cell phones and credit cards that were stolen during the brutal attack, along with surveillance video taken during credit card purchases, led to the arrest today of Heriberto Viramontes and his girlfriend. Viramontes described the attack to police.
Viramontes was armed with a baseball bat. Without warning or demand, Viramontes proceeds to begin hitting Stacy and Natasha numerous times on their heads with this bat. The offender then takes the victim's purses and makes good his escape to an awaiting vehicle being driven by a subject now known as Marcy Cruz.
Chicago police have confirmed that 30-year-old Heriberto Viramontes and his girlfriend, 25-year-old Marcy Cruz, have been charged in the baseball bat beating and robbery of 24-year-old Stacy Jurich and 23-year-old Natasha McShane that occurred in the 1800 block of North Damon Avenue last Friday morning. Viramontes and Cruz were each charged with aggravated battery and armed robbery.
As Stacy recounted the horrific ordeal that she and Natasha McShane endured, two experienced, hardened big city detectives both admitted to welling up as she was retelling the story. That's how senseless and brutal this crime was.
We spoke with Bernadette McShane, who lives in Ireland, about her granddaughter Natasha McShane, a graduate student at the University of Illinois, and about the latest development in the case.
It's a good thing that they are, that they are caught. But my main concern now is for Natasha.
This has become a top news story in Ireland. The British Broadcasting Company provided us with this video of McShane's family back in Ireland. McShane's parents are now in Chicago at her bedside, while her siblings remain back home waiting for news about their sister. Some have appeared on the BBC talking about when they first learned of the attack.
I cannot believe this has happened. Until I seen in the news one night, it never really hit me.
Well, we've just received mug shots of the two suspects. The first one is 30-year-old Heriberto Viramontes and his girlfriend, Marcy Cruz. We've also learned that they have previous police records, and police are concerned about them. They've also said that Natasha McShane has just been transported to Northwestern Hospital. Reporting from Area 5, Teresa Gutierrez, ABC 7 News. Ellen, back to you.
All right, Teresa, thank you.
Chuck, thanks.
All right, Chuck. Okay.
Bond denied today for a man charged with beating two women with a baseball bat during a robbery in Chicago's Bucktown neighborhood. His girlfriend is also charged. Her bond hearing is going to be held tomorrow. ABC 7's Teresa Gutierrez is outside Advocate Illinois Masonic Medical Center tonight, where one of the victims is being treated. Teresa?
Well, Kathy, Heriberto Viramontes walked into the courtroom limping as if his legs were bothering him. The courtroom was filled with his brother and other family members, and they wept when the judge announced bail denied and then gave the reasons for his decision.
That he preyed on two unprotected women who were by themselves and were unable to protect themselves from this vicious attack by this man.
Cook County Judge Adam Bourgeois denied bail today to 31-year-old Heriberto Viramontes, who was charged in the baseball bat attack last Friday morning in Bucktown that seriously injured 24-year-old Stacy Jurich and 23-year-old Natasha McShane, a graduate student from Northern Ireland at the University of Illinois. Viramontes' family appeared in court but did not want to talk to us on camera.
The judge granted a discretionary no bail petition based on the evidence in this case and based on the fact that no bond can be set to keep the community safe from this defendant.
Viramontes has a long police record of felony convictions that include stolen vehicles, burglaries, and battery. The state's attorney said Viramontes reportedly beat the two victims with a wooden baseball bat and took their purses along with other belongings last Friday under a railroad viaduct at around 3:30 a.m. in the 1800 block of North Damon. They were on their way to Jurich's home after celebrating a night out. She added that following the attack, Viramontes left the scene and got into his girlfriend's vehicle, Marcy Cruz, who was also charged in the attack, and went to a gas station at the corner of Augusta and Western Avenue, where the suspects were captured on surveillance video, walking up to the cashier window to make a transaction. According to the gas station employees, we then see the male suspect trying to swipe a credit card to put gas into the silver van. And then it appears the male suspect is getting cash from another customer by using the stolen credit card to purchase gas.
Once the transaction didn't go through, the gentleman was really upset. He started threatening him, abusing him. And he did even make a comment that he got so much money he can buy this place.
Both defendants are seen on video surveillance trying to use the credit cards of the victim. The phone records of the victims led police to the female co-defendant. Further investigation led them to defendant Viramontes.
The state's attorney said that Viramontes and his girlfriend Cruz were drinking prior to the attack in a local bar, that they left the local bar and went into her car. When he reportedly turned to her inside the car and said, "I need some money," he then left the car and allegedly beat the two victims with a wooden baseball bat. Now, Viramontes, this is the 19th time that he has been in Cook County Jail. He has declined protective custody and has been put in isolation for his own protection. Reporting from Illinois Masonic Hospital, Teresa Gutierrez, ABC 7 News. Back to you in the newsroom.
All right, Teresa. Well, a group of mothers is behind a new...
For him to sue me was like getting punched in the face again because I was the victim.
Tonight, in ABC 7 exclusive, authorities recount run-ins with the man charged in the bat attack on two women in Chicago's Bucktown community. We've learned that Heriberto Viramontes has received settlements of thousands of dollars from the city of Chicago and Cook County in recent years. Well, good evening, everybody. Those settlements were reached after Viramontes claimed he was the victim of police abuse.
Even though officers denied those claims, Viramontes received cash settlements totaling $18,000. ABC 7's Ben Bradley here with details. Ben.
Ron Cheryl, police say Natasha McShane and Stacy Jurich were beaten in Bucktown without warning and without hesitation. Heriberto Viramontes is now in jail charged with that crime. It's the latest of nearly 20 crimes he's accused of committing in recent years. But on two occasions, it was Viramontes who was able to cash in by claiming he was a beating victim.
I just saw his face, and I'll never forget that face.
This mugshot, broadcast on the evening news, brought back a flood of memories for two Cook County Sheriff's police officers.
If he had been convicted like he should have on the charge that we put on him for a battery to a police officer, he wouldn't have been on the street to commit those attacks.
Sergeant Kevin Farrell raced to this Schaumburg bar in 2006 after his fellow officer called for help. She was responding to a report of a fight between a bouncer and a man later identified as Heriberto Viramontes. The officer, who works undercover now and asked her identity be concealed, said Viramontes hit her as she tried to cuff him. A year and a half later, Viramontes sued the sheriff's office claiming he was the victim of excessive force. The county settled the suit for $2,000. A few months after Viramontes filed suit against the county, Chicago police arrested him for drinking in public. While in a police lockup on the Northwest Side, Viramontes claimed he was viciously and unjustifiably assaulted and beaten by an officer, and he suffered a broken wrist. Chicago police say Viramontes was the aggressor. But when the officer failed to appear in court, the charge was dropped, and the city later settled the lawsuit by giving Viramontes $16,000. Sheriff Tom Dart says people like Heriberto Viramontes and their lawyers know how to play the system.
So, well, then are you willing to risk the taxpayers' money on this one where we can walk away from this thing for $2,000? Or are you willing to roll the dice and stick the taxpayers for $200,000? And that's where it gets tricky.
Last month, Viramontes is accused of going after more money, this time a robbery with a baseball bat, one so severe it left Natasha McShane in a coma and her friend Stacy Jurek in a wheelchair.
My first thought was if he'd still been in jail, it never would have happened, and those poor girls paid for it, unfortunately.
A judge tossed the aggravated battery to a police officer charge, saying the punch to the sheriff's officer could have been accidental. As for the Chicago settlement, city lawyers tell us their decision to give Viramontes $16,000 was far less than the $30,000 suggested by the judge in the case. The attorneys who represented Mr. Viramontes in his lawsuits declined to comment.
All right, Ben, thank you for that.